Have you ever felted a vessel, a bag, or another 3D item and found that you couldn't get rid of the seams on the sides? Did you wonder why it happened? Did you think that those seams could have been prevented by filling the piece with a balloon or any other object? If that's the case, know that the issues started way before the final shaping and drying phase. And so no filling the piece in the end would have made the felt flat. Today I bring you 7 tips that can help. Once you have those pesky side ridges on your 3D felt, it's very difficult to get rid of them. Sure, rubbing the seam area can help, but the problem happens in the layout phase as well as in the initial phase of the felting process. So rubbing won't completely solve the problem. Let's have a look at what does help. In the layout phase, there are 2 things to watch for during the layout phase. From my point of view, there are 2 ways you can do the layout on the edges. If you know that you lay out very thinly on the edges, let your wool go slightly beyond the resist on both sides of the project. This will help prevent the edges from becoming too thin. On the other hand, if you tend to lay out thickly on the edges, make sure you only let your wool go beyond the resist on one side of your project. This will prevent the edges from becoming too thick. Remember, your goal is to get a felt that is evenly thick, both in the middle of the project and on the edge of the resist. That's the first thing you need to pay attention to during the layout. If the edges are too thin, you may get holes in your felt. If the edges are too thick, you'll get seams. If you're enjoying the video, head on over to www.wandafsoza.com/updates and sign up to my newsletter. There you can get fresh tips, video instructions, news about class registrations, as well as exclusive promotions directly into your inbox. If you're making a thin felt, there's no need to worry. But if you're making a thicker felt, don't do the whole layout all at once. Instead, place the first 2 layers on the resist, add water and soap, and flatten the fiber. Flip the piece and repeat on the other side. Only then should you add the next 2 layers. If you do a thick layout and only add water and soap in the end, the wool will relax and form a lot of wrinkles. That creates a bigger risk of getting ridges on the edges of the resists, since it's very difficult to have control over the fiber and to be able to flatten it in this situation. At the beginning of the felting process, straight after you've finished your layout, start pushing the fiber towards the center to avoid the formation of seams. At the same time, give the piece a general rub. This promotes the creation of a skin, and the felt starts becoming flatter and tighter. It's important not to exaggerate on the water so that the wool doesn't become too floppy at the beginning. On the other hand, a good amount of soap helps the wool stick and it acts like a glue for the fiber. This cohesion also helps prevent seams. As you rub the areas around the resist, having a piece of netting on the wool will prevent the fiber from moving, as well as help it keep tight on the resist edge. Further on in the felting process, during the next phases of the felting process, make sure you rub the areas where the edges of the resist were as much as the rest of the piece. The same way it's important to distribute your fiber evenly on the center and on the edges, it's also important to felt the whole piece evenly. When you cut the felt and remove the resist, your vessel will be flat like a pancake. So you need to pull on the poles and start massaging the seams immediately to start creating a round shape. If you go on felting the piece flat, the seams will be reinforced and will be difficult to get rid of. The next time you make a vessel or any other 3D shape, try applying these tips. And if you're open to it, send me an email with your results. I'd love to see your success. I hope you found the video useful. If you have, share it with your felting friends and subscribe to the channel so that I know that you'd like me to make other videos like this.